What is up, everybody? You're very welcome along to Thursday night's late night agenda, which will also act as our Leeds preview show. I hope that you're all keeping well. Somebody told me during the comments yesterday that my intro was too long, so I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter today. As always, folks, this transfer window is moving quickly, and just in the past hour or two, we're getting all different types of information coming in. But look, I have to start tonight's stream with a bit of an apology to Kent Coastal Holiday Let's, aka Carl. I missed a super chat last night, and I really hate when I do that, so I want to cover it at the start of the stream today. And again, apologies, Carl, for missing it. So Carl asked, what one player from the past do you think would make it but didn't make it but did, and ended up being a great player? His was Jamie Carragher. So for me, the answer is Steve Finnan. I was a bit dubious when we signed him from Fulham, but look, he turned out to be one hell of a player, Carl, didn't he? And look, as you said, Carragher as well. The rest is history there, mate, and I do apologise for missing that at the start of the stream yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, loads for us to get through tonight. We've got some stuff on Raheem Brewster. We'll be talking about Wijnaldum, loads of other bits and pieces as well. Thiago, of course, I know you guys want to know about that. The interesting one for me, though, is really Raheem Brewster, as I keep saying, and I have a bit to talk about on young Raheem. Some various information, some people saying he's still going to be sold, others saying he'll be loaned. We'll go through it and we'll try and get to the crux of the matter, as they say. And look, I hope you like the new studio. Connor's been hard at work ahead of the new season. We'll be doing a preview, and that'll be on this as well later on. So get your thoughts in for the Leeds game, your predictions, your starting 11 and stuff like that. I have mine all ready to go, and I'll be putting those out a little bit later on in the show. How are we? Lovely to see you all in the chat. Look, I'm going to get straight into it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Raheem Brewster, the big one for me of this window. I know a lot of people are going to be saying Thiago and Gini, but really I'm intrigued by the Brewster situation. And the Telegraph reported that Raheem Brewster might well end up back on loan at Swansea after several interested Premier League clubs have gone after alternative targets. Now, the Beautiful Game podcast say that sources close to the club feel that Raheem will go on loan and expected to sign another forward if he leaves, or if he does go full time, again the Reds expected to go out there and sign another forward. Interestingly enough, though, I was listening to something from Chris Wilder earlier on, and he spoke about a forward coming in on loan probably very soon, and he was very adamant that it will most likely be a loan for this forward that he's bringing in, and all signs seem to point to Raheem Brewster with regards to that. Now, you guys know, and I know, that there's been talk of Raheem Brewster being sold. £20 million has been mentioned. There's been talk of a buyback clause, a sell-on clause, and all that type of stuff as well. It remains to be seen what will happen, but it always seemed most likely to me that a loan was going to be the option. And I spoke about Chris Wilder many weeks ago on the stream, and I told you that he's most likely going to be the manager that Jurgen Klopp would look to send Raheem Brewster to continue his progression, because he's an admirer of the way Chris Wilder sets up that Sheffield United team, and you know, he thinks Raheem will get the minutes there as well. So it is an intriguing situation, and there's some Genie information after coming to light over the past hour or two as well. Sky Sports have been talking about that. We've got wow, sorry, I got distracted. Carl, thank you so much, mate. A £50 super sticker, you absolute legend. Carl must have been on a few quid today. Do you have a winner of the horses or something, Carl, or are you just being super generous, buddy? But either way, wow, thank you so much. I don't know if you're talking to me, Jessica, or you're talking to somebody else. Do you even know what you're going on about, mate? Who are you? If it's in relation to me, I think I have a fair idea what I'm talking about, Jessica. But who are you, Jessica? We'd all love to know. And I don't know if that was aimed at me. But hey, it's the first comment that I've seen, so it's one that I spoke about. But again, if it is aimed at me, Jessica, and you don't like what I have to say, that's no problem. Nobody's keeping you here. Feel free to scoot on out and go about your evening. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get on to the whole situation. And there is a winger that we'll be talking about a little bit later on as well that Liverpool have been linked to. But I want to talk about Wijnaldum for a minute, because we've spoken about Wijnaldum being the key to this little trifecta that we've spoken about between Barcelona, Liverpool and Bayern Munich. Because Sky Sports reported earlier on that talks with Wijnaldum and Liverpool about a new contract have been held, and that they've been positive. Now, this is the first that I've heard or read about any talks between Liverpool and Wijnaldum about extending his contract recently, because if anything, everything that I'd read, it said that it's at an impasse and that there's no talks planned, and that Wijnaldum wants to go to Barcelona, and he's going to be talking to Jurgen Klopp when he goes back training, which was yesterday, of course, after he's back from international duty. So it's an interesting one with regards to Wijnaldum. And in an ideal world, we'd all love Gini to sign the new contract and to sneak Thiago in as well, maybe with somebody else moving on. But have you guys read much on this Wijnaldum stuff with regards to a new contract? Because I have to say, until Sky put that out there, and I'm not saying Sky are right or Sky are wrong, I hadn't seen anything to suggest that a new contract was going to be put on the table for Gini. If anything, it looked like we'd lost all hope. And I'm quite happy about the prospect of Gini signing a new deal. I have to say, I said to you guys last night on another streams, for me, he absolutely has earned a new contract at the club. The front three got theirs. Other players have got their improved contracts. Gini is a mainstay in Jurgen Klopp's starting 11. And I was quite baffled as to why that contract offer wasn't there. Or at least we weren't hearing about any new contract talks. Now, I know that the club did put a lot of stuff on hold, obviously, with the enforced break. But we are back now, and I would have expected to have heard more stuff. Just like to support the channel, said Carl. Thank you so much, mate. You always have supported the channel, and you're an absolute star. With regards to Thiago, this is starting to get a little bit interesting as well, because now are Bayern Munich perhaps lining this up that Thiago might stay there for another season, or are we going to talk about the Varsky Sports stuff, which I have on my phone? And if you guys haven't heard about this, it really gets interesting. And I think Connor summed it up really well on Twitter. So here's where we are with regards to what Varsky Sports had to say. I'm going to just pull up the information on my phone, by the way, because I don't want to get it right. I hate giving people incorrect information, particularly with regards to somebody else's tweet and stuff. So right, this is what Varsky Sports had to say. Now obviously this is translated into English. They said, Liverpool have made a small advance for Thiago in the last few hours. We've raised their offer to €30 million, and that Bayern Munich want €35 million and aren't seduced by add-ons. Now this is kind of a pains to what we've been hearing all along, that the price for Thiago is €30 million. So Varsky Sports are suggesting that Liverpool have gone in and said, okay, we'll meet your €30 million valuation, and we've gone back, nah, you're alright lads, it's 35 now. I mean, what the hell is going on? And Varsky Sports do have form in getting things right, by the way. They've got a few big transfer stories broke over the years, so they are somebody that are worth paying attention to. But it does get a bit interesting. I mean, what... I don't want to come on here and say something's going one way or the other, because this is moving so quickly. This transfer window is full of loopy juice. I can't believe what's going on with regard to Liverpool transfers. 1 minute I'm absolutely convinced that Wijnaldum is gone and that Thiago's coming in, and now I'm absolutely confused as to what the hell is going on. But how can we get from a position of 30 million to 35 million? I mean, it was clear, the price was put out there, it was spoken about. €30 million was the price to get Thiago Alcantara from Bayern Munich. I'm confused by this one. And that's a pains, of course, what other people are saying, that Liverpool haven't lodged the bid for Thiago yet. But one thing I think we can say for certain at this point is we can most likely rule Manchester United out of any interest in Thiago. That seems to have gone fairly quiet. There was a few talks with his representatives, but nothing concrete towards Bayern Munich. So, I mean, I've got to be honest with you, if we go into this season and we don't sign Thiago and we renew Gini's contract, from a midfield standpoint, I'd accept that. I would accept. It's not ideal. A lot of people want Thiago, and I wouldn't mind him either. But I do think that our loyalty should be towards Gini Wijnaldum, because he deserves that loyalty. Now, if I want to be greedy about it, and I am a greedy son of a bitch, I wouldn't mind Liverpool going out and adding Thiago in as well. But then who do you move on? Because we've spoken about the fact we already have 7 senior midfielders at the club, and if we were to bring in another one, are they all going to get game time? Will Klopp be able to keep all those midfielders happy? It is a really, really interestingly crazy transfer window. And 1 minute, I did that in my notes earlier on today as an example, and this conversation was going to go in a whole other direction. I was convinced of the Thiago stuff, and then the stuff started coming out about Gini Wijnaldum. I haven't really had a chance to reach out to people to find out if I can get any more info on it, because, the stream was only starting and I was recording something before this as well. What have we got? I'm liking the new studio design, Craig. Looking good, lad. I wish I could take any credit for that whatsoever, but as always, ladies and gentlemen, Connor Crosby does all the good stuff behind the channel. Jamie Dodd, thank you very much, mate. Lovely to see you back in again, Jamie. I know that you drop in every now and again. Well, at least you drop in with a super chat every now and again, mate, and we really appreciate it. So Jamie said Curtis, Julian, Jones and Harvey, Scott, Elliott are primed and ready. Think about that for a second, guys. And I do not disagree with you, Jamie. Curtis Julian Jones. I didn't know Julian was his middle name, mate. So you've educated me there as well, Jamie. Yeah, he's definitely ready, isn't he? I mean, he's taken Lallana's position in the squad this season. I'm very excited to see what he can bring to the team. And Elliott is a really interesting one, because I think it's almost a free roll of the dice for Harvey Elliott this season, because the club aren't really expecting him to break through just yet. But anything we do get out of young Harvey Elliott will be seen as a massive positive, because there's no doubt this kid is primed and ready for the future, as you've said. So, yeah, the future is looking bright with regards to young players, and that's something that we should be very happy about as well. having the likes of Harvey Elliott, Raheem Brewster at this moment in time, Curtis Jones, Neco Williams, you know the list. I've gone through the list. Step Van den Berg, Kylian Hoover, and we could go on because the club are doing really well. We also spoke yesterday about that young goalkeeper from Fluminense that Liverpool were looking to bring in as well. 17-year-old goalkeeper. There's not really too much with regards to a fee. I haven't seen anything, but again, looks like the club are still going out there and trying to bring in the best young talent. If I remember correctly with this goalkeeper, and I could be wrong, I think he might have an Italian passport, or he might have access to an Italian passport. I'm sure I read that somewhere, but look, again, could be wrong in it. What have I missed about Thiago? It's going this twisting and turning. Let me ask you guys a question. Let me flip this on its head and hand it over to you guys. What do you think is going on with the Thiago and Gini Wijnaldum situation? Because it's all very well and good me coming on and giving you my thoughts, but this is a community channel. I want to know what you guys think about it. So please do let me know in the comment section and let me know in the live chat as well. Thiago, Gini Wijnaldum, where are you feeling, or what are you feeling about it? Where are you sitting? Are you sitting left, right? Want Gini to go? Want Thiago to come in? Happy for Gini to stay? It is tough because Gini Wijnaldum is not a player that any Liverpool fan would have had on the list of ones that they wanted to move on. I mean, I was reading the chat before we started tonight. There was a few shouts, maybe move on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. And I don't know if that's because of his injury record or some people just don't rate him as a player. I personally think he's a fantastic footballer, but there is no doubt that he has had a bit of a track record of injuries, albeit very unfortunate long-term injuries, not like a muscle thing that keeps recurring or something like that. Smoke screen, said John Hamilton. I do love a smoke screen, John. Well played, sir. First time this season I think we've used the word smoke screen, so well in. Gini stay and Thiago comes in, said Sebastian. It's going to be Cantwell, said Richard Askram. Well, we spoke about Cantwell for a few months on the channel, buddy, but it's gone rather quiet, and I do like Todd Cantwell as a footballer. It's a shambles, meet their fee and sign him, said Evan Gallagher. Apparently we did meet the fee. Apparently we did go in and offer them €30 million, but they said 35's the price now, according to Varsity Sports, mate. So Bayern are being stubborn, but we will get there, said Robert Durbin. I wonder, you could have something there, Robert. I wonder if Bayern are still holding out hope that perhaps when Thiago thinks about it, when it does settles a little bit, that he will go and sign that contract, because they did meet his wage demands, and then all of a sudden he turned around and said no. So maybe Bayern are being that extra bit stubborn because they hope that Thiago will turn around and sign a new deal. There is also that. Selling Oxlade-Chamberlain and sign Thiago, said Celtic for life. Hail, hail. What else we got? Getting fed up with this lot as a Liverpool fan. When you say this lot, Kev, do you mean the owners or, I don't know, the fans, mate? Because it's a tricky situation with regards to the owners, because I absolutely understand the sustainable business model that they're trying to implement, but I spoke to Steve Hoare earlier on, and that'll be out tomorrow, by the way. If you don't know who Steve Hoare is, you will by the end of tomorrow, and keep a lookout for that interview. I spoke to him earlier on, and he was kind of thinking the same, and he'd be a very level-headed fella, and he's thinking that this should be an exception, that the owners should take out a loan, or at least provide a loan to boost transfer fees if necessary. And I know that that's not the model that Liverpool and FSG run with, but these are exceptional times and exceptional circumstances. It's not very often that a player of the calibre of Thiago becomes available for 30 million quid. It should be a no-brainer, and that's exactly what Steve was thinking as well. And not sure why people are still talking about Thiago, said Dara. I don't like it, Dara, put it that way. I mean, I often get people say to me in the comments, will you stop mentioning Thiago? And I get it. I'm as fed up as anybody else with this saga, but, you know, it does take twists and turns, and it kind of is my job to come on here, and I say job in a very loose term, to come on here and talk about it. Hello from Greece, pure love for our club, said Mix Alice, and welcome, mate, lovely to have you with us. What about Karius, said Joel Wickham. Karius is gone, mate, and I'm not, well, he's going, let's put it that way. There's no road to redemption for Loris Karius at Liverpool. He didn't get a minute in pre-season. That probably tells you everything that you need to know. Adrian got some minutes. Caoimhín Kelleher, I think, got some minutes, if my memory's correct, but not 1 second of playing time for Loris Karius. And there was talk of a move to France. I think the transfer fee, when he does go, will probably be about 6 million quid, something like that. There was even talks about him going back to Turkey, which I would be shocked at if that happened, but I think it's just a matter of somebody finally coming and ponying up the dough to move him on. It doesn't seem that there is a road back to a place for him at Liverpool. Hey Craig, what year did you start supporting Liverpool? God, 89, I think, if my memory's correct. Whatever year the Arsenal 2-0 was, the one I keep speaking about, where they came and beat us at Anfield 2-0, won the old First Division title. I can never remember if that was 88 or 90. Somewhere around that time anyway. That was the time I started supporting Liverpool, that exact game. But I'm memory like a goldfish with regards to years and stuff. We're not signing anyone significant this season, said Ren7. I would kindly disagree, buddy, but we're going to have to just wait, I think. LFC don't do things easy. No, Robert, we absolutely don't, mate. I totally agree with you on that one. A little bit of news on Ben Woodburn, by the way. A bit of a blast from the past. Obviously, Ben was on loan at Oxford last season, and he's now on his way to Dutch side Sparta Rotterdam on a season-long loan deal. It's believed that Pep Lijnders played a big part in advising Ben Woodburn on this move. Obviously, Pep Lijnders, having coached Ben at a younger age as well, and having worked in Holland, thinks that this would be an ideal move for Ben Woodburn to try and get his career back on track a little bit, and maybe shock us all and come back to Liverpool one day. But yeah, he is off to Sparta Rotterdam on I believe a season-long loan. So best of luck to Ben, and I hope it goes well for him over there, because if you think back a couple of years ago, Ben Woodburn, we were all expecting massive things from him when he broke through, and he had that injury and stuff. And look, I wish the lad the best. I hope he goes over there and has a great season. 1989 cried that night, said Pat. There you go. It's definitely not 1974 for me, Dara, because I wasn't born then. I was probably still a dream in me daddy's nutsack at that point, mate, because I don't think he'd even met me mother yet in 1974. It was 89, said Mark as well. There you go. So I finally got something right with regards to a year. Right, there's something actually on Thiago. A journalist named Konstantin Ekner, who writes for a host of credible websites, including BBC and The Times, has posted this on his Twitter account. Thiago and Liverpool have an agreement. Bayern demand over 30 million euros, while Liverpool's current offer remains 25 million euro. In my opinion, it would be great to see what the player could do under Jurgen Klopp. Now, the reason that this tweet from this journalist is important is it's the first time that anybody has put out there that Liverpool have put an offer in. Everything else have been spoken about, the 30 million euro and Liverpool's interest, but no genuine offer to Bayern Munich. This gentleman seems to be the first person to put himself out there to say that Liverpool have submitted a bid. It mightn't seem important, but nobody's used that style of language yet to describe this. But then that's kind of at odds to what Varsky Sports said, although maybe it's not. Do you know what? Maybe it's not 2 million miles away, because Varsky Sports have said that an offer's been rejected, although it was 5 million quid higher, the valuation that Thiago seems to be going for Bayern Munich in their story. We've offered 30 million euro, they want 35 million euro, so I'm probably hoping that the truth lies somewhere in the middle of this, ladies and gents. Thiago has agreed a contract to Bringo. I don't know what that means, mate. I don't know if you mean agreed a contract with us, agreed a contract with Bayern. I mean, it's always been the case from what we've been reading that there's never been an issue with regards to us and Thiago's wages and us and his agents' fees and stuff. That seems to be all pretty straightforward. One Football said, what? Thiago's just signed a contract. Oh, hang on. Do we have a bit of breaking news here? Hang on till I pretend that I'm a proper journalist here. You right? I get you. No fucking way. It does seem this. I need Crosby to give me some confirmation here. Oh, I love this stuff. I do love a bit of breaking news on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Right, let me just look at this. One Football announced that Thiago has just agreed, hoping for 10. Look, this is the joy of doing this shit live, isn't it? Look at the face light up. Right, I gotta check this out now. Hang on. I'll have to message Crosby live on the stream. Professionalism out the window. Right, Crosby, wake up. Lots saying Thiago was signed. Thiago was here. Do you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I love doing this shit live. Here we go. Professionalism out the window. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're happy about the Thiago situation that seems to be breaking right here, please do hit that subscribe button. Drop a like on the stream as well. This is absolutely nuts if it is the case. Loads of people in the chat saying that it's happening. What have we got? I'm gonna message Connor. Right. Are these trolls? Is it happening? Is it bullshit? What's this? I'm trying to read through your chat every so often. Right. This could be somebody just winding us up. So this is the joy. I don't mind if it is. If it is a wind up, so be it. It's part of the fun of doing this stuff live, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, no, I think he's lying. Unfortunately, folks. One Football, nothing on there. Hopes dashed. Do you know what I mean? Live on stream. Gonna nearly ordering me Thiago shirt, and it turns out to be complete poo-poo, but there you go. Loads of people giving prices and all. Where is this? I haven't seen it. Please do put a link in one of our mods if you have it to this story. Because Connor's on the website saying he hasn't seen anything. Thiago's definitely not on Wexford, mate. I can promise you that one. The Wexford scouts would be out there keeping an eye on him if he was. This is entertaining, said Liverpool. I love this. Do you know, if this is a wind-up, so be it. It's part of the fun, isn't it? This is why I do this stuff live. Nothing has happened. Do you have one football? Yes, I do. And Connor's looked at it and he's saying there's nothing. There's an article from 6 hours ago saying he's agreed a contract with us, no fee agreed yet. That's all poo-poo. If that's the story, if it is that he's agreed a contract with us, that's always been the case. I want the sexy news that a transfer fee has been agreed. That's the one that's going to get a tingle in that little special area. Do you know what I mean? This type of stuff doesn't give me that tingle. I'll send it to you on Instagram, said Joel. I don't run the Instagram account, mate, so you'd be wasting your time, unfortunately. Look, do you know what? I'm going to move on a little bit on this one, and if we get that little tingling sensation, I will let you know about it, ladies and gentlemen. If I get any confirmation during the stream about this, I'll let you know. Trust me, it could be an absolute wind-up. I don't know. Is there any silver Merc Vito's being tracked? Is there an airplane in the sky anywhere? Does anybody know whether it was a big pen that was used, or whether it was a really good Parker pen or something that he used to sign the contract? All this stuff's the type of stuff I need to know. Did he have a bottle of water with him? If so, what type of bottle of water was it? This is the information we need. John Hamilton has put in a link there to One Football. Right, John, give me the guts of that, mate. What does it say? Does it say that it is true, or is it from 6 hours ago, or is it just poo-poo? Somebody else is saying it's on Sky Sports News. I bet you it isn't. I guarantee you it's not on Sky Sports News, because they're always slow to catch up on anything like this. Yeah, there's nothing on there, so... Liverpool hold positive talks with Wijnaldum. That's the story that I see on Sky at this moment in time. God, you're very bold coming in here, getting our hopes up like that, and then just going and pissing all over our cornflakes. Ronaldo's just signed as well. Nice one. It's been a busy day for the Reds, hasn't it? Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to carry on with what I have to go through anyway. Let's have a little look at the Leeds preview, and we'll touch on the Thiago stuff if that pops up later on. How dare you, people? How dare you get this bald Irishman's hopes up? Connor's messaging me here a go-go as well. Yeah, it seems like that is just a story from 6 hours ago that is just nothing. It's a nothing story that we already knew the information on. So, what else have we got? It's from 6 hours ago. Yeah, that was the one Connor was on about. Right, let's go through to the preview of the Leeds game. So, I've put my predicted 11 together and my score predictions. Let's start with the... Well, let's give you both of them, to be fair. Right, here you go. So, here's my predicted 11 that I think Jurgen Klopp is going to go with at the weekend against Leeds. 5:30pm kickoff on Saturday. Leeds obviously back up in the Premier League. A great manager there in Bielsa as well, and I think it's going to be a difficult game. As you can see from my score prediction, I don't envision us going out there and battering them 3 or 4-0. To me, I see this one being a difficult game. I have a sneaking suspicion that Leeds will score first. I think maybe we'll be caught a little bit cold or something, but I'm going for a 2-1 win for the Reds and to get our defence of our Premier League title off to a good start. Here's the 11 that I've gone with. Now, bear with me as I go through this, because I will try and explain my reasoning. Obviously, I've gone for Alisson in goal. It's a little bit touch and go whether Trent will be fit and available for the weekend. He is back training, but I just wonder, would we be rushing him back if we brought him in for this game? Maybe have him on the bench if we need him, but I think Kloppo will go with Neco Williams for this game because I think he doesn't want to rush Trent back a little bit too early. I've gone for Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk as my centre-back pairing, which is Jurgen Klopp's go-to centre-back pairing. People might disagree. I know some people in the chat will think Matip will get a start. I think that it's nailed on to be Gomez and Van Dijk, and then at left back obviously Andy Robertson. So that's my back five. The midfield area is where I got a little bit creative. I don't think Jordan Henderson's going to start the game because he hasn't played a minute in pre-season yet. He is back training, but I think we're going to see our captain perhaps start this one on the bench. With that in mind, the question was, what way do we set this midfield up? Do we go with the obvious one, which would have been Fabinho, Gini Wijnaldum and Naby Keita? No, that's not what I've gone with. I think maybe the situation with Gini Wijnaldum might see him put on the bench for this one, and I've gone with a midfield of Fabinho, James Milner, obviously playing against Leeds United, a club that is close to his heart, and I've gone for Minamino, which is a little bit of a shake-up because initially I'd gone for a Naby Keita in that midfield trio for obvious reasons, but the more I thought about it, I thought maybe we're going to see Takumi Minamino unleashed here behind the front three, possibly even a change of formation. So I've gone for a midfield trio, Fabinho, James Milner and Takumi Minamino, and then up front it doesn't change. I've gone with the front three. Now, don't mind my system. I'm not to say that this isn't going to become a 4-2-3-1 or something like that. That's what I think Klopp will go with. That's my predicted starting 11. When I say predicted, I don't mean it's the one I pick. I mean, it's the one I think that Jurgen Klopp will go with on Saturday. It's going to be a difficult game. Anyone out there that thinks we're going to go and batter Leeds, I think you're going to be mistaken. Bielsa is a coach who won't leave a stone unturned, looking to try and get the best of Jurgen Klopp, and he's going to thoroughly enjoy coming up and battling his wits against Klopp. And don't underrate this manager as well. Bielsa is somebody who every coach, every leading coach in the world will tell you that they've got nothing for respect for. He's a man that, you remember Spygate and the whole Derby stuff as well. I've told you guys stories about Bielsa and what his goalkeeper did before. He told him to boot the ball down towards the corner flag every time he got it because he knew that the opposition team were terrible at turning over possession on throw-ins. Small details like that are what makes Bielsa such a good manager. Now, Leeds are a team that probably don't have a whole host of stars. Yes, they've done some good business in the window. But again, if they're to go with their tried and trusted 11 for this game, they're a team that's made up probably of players that are greater as the sum of their parts, if you get where I'm going with this. Use the wrong phrase there, but they're better as a collective than they are as individuals. That's where I'm going with. They'll all know their job. They'll work hard. They'll be very excited to come straight up and play against the Premier League champions in their first game back in the Premier League in, I think, 16 years. So yeah, I think this is going to be a battle. I really do. I'm not expecting an easy evening on Saturday. We will, of course, be doing a watch-along of the game, ladies and gentlemen, starting from 5 p.m. on Saturday here on the channel. So make sure you've got your notifications on and ready for that one. And I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Are you predicting a bigger win for the Reds? Do you think it's going to be a tough afternoon? I mean, as good as Leeds are, they are coming up from the Championship to a whole new level. And Liverpool's home record has to be taken into account as well. We're 2 years or something unbeaten in the Premier League under Jurgen Klopp at home. So it's going to be a difficult afternoon for Leeds, and I think it's going to be quite a difficult afternoon for us. But I do see us prevailing with a 2-1 win. A referee for the game, by the way, is Michael Oliver. In my experience, probably the best referee in the Premier League, although it's the best of a bad bunch, really, isn't it? Because they're not a great selection of referees. Mike Dean is the fourth official, and I can't remember who the VAR officials are, but that information is pretty easy to find if you want to go and check it out. Again, I'd love to know your thoughts, so please do let me know your score predictions, your lineup predictions, and everything in between. I'll try my best to get through and reply to as many of them as I can. So there you go. That's my prediction for the game in our shiny new studio. 2-1 win for the Reds. I've no idea who's going to score the goals, but if you want to push me for a goal scorer, I'm going to go for Takumi if he starts, because I think he's on a bit of a roll. And then I think maybe Sadio Mane with the second one, but you never know. Big Verge could pop up from a corner and knock one in as well. So that's my prediction, ladies and gentlemen. 2-1 win for the Reds. Get a Premier League title defence off to a good start. And over to you guys for your thoughts. What have we got? Jamie Dodd again, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He said, sources familiar with the matter have told me that Thiago deal is done. 220 grand a week wages, making him the club's highest earner alongside Mo Salah. Fee being negotiated with Bayern. I really do appreciate your information, Jamie, as always, mate. That is quite a wage, though, I have to say. That you've rightly said, Jamie, that puts him right up there with the highest earner at the club, which is Mohamed Salah. Now, obviously, there's incentives and bonuses and stuff in those contracts that I don't have information to, but that's interesting. And look, a player of his ilk, probably could command such a fee, and he would certainly get it elsewhere. Wage. He'd certainly get it elsewhere if he was to move to Manchester United or Chelsea or Barcelona or wherever it might be. So thank you, because I genuinely didn't know, Jamie, what the wages were going to be. In my head I was thinking maybe 160, something like that, but you are talking about a recent Champions League winner, somebody who's played at the very highest level. So again, Jamie, I appreciate your input, mate. Right, what else we got? Michael Oliver, he's our refed Liverpool legend. Actually seen some Liverpool fans who were a bit annoyed that Michael Oliver was the referee. I mean, he's better than Martin Atkinson. Just don't give me Martin Atkinson. I cannot stand that fella. Right, let's move back to Thiago, because I can see the chat still talking about Thiago. A lot of people are saying he's very close to signing now. But is this not at odds with what Sky Sports said a little bit earlier on? That talks with Wijnaldum and Liverpool over a new contract have been held and have been positive. I don't know. I can't see a situation where we renew Gini's contract and Thiago comes in. That would be a massive shock. Now, I did say I have a little bit of talk to come up about a winger as well that we've been linked to, and don't let me go off without talking about that, because there is links coming out to this gentleman who we've been linked to, I believe, a couple of years ago, maybe when he was even younger. Right, a little bit of information for you guys, just a little bit of FYI. The Reds game against Arsenal has had a slight change to it. It's now going to be an 8:15pm kickoff, Monday, September 28th. It was always scheduled to take place on that day when Sky released the fixtures, but instead of an 8pm kickoff, it's now an 8:15pm kickoff. Not much to it, but just something I thought I'd bring you guys just to let you know about it. Shay saying deal done for Thiago. I love this stuff. Genuinely, this gets me excited. Whether it comes out to be true or not, it really does get me excited. Current offer. Well, if you're to believe Varsky Sports, mate, we offered them €30 million and they suddenly won €35 million. Or do you believe the journalist that we spoke about earlier on? What's the gentleman's name? Where has he gone? Konstantin Eckner, who said that Liverpool... our offer is €25 million and Bayern 130. But either way, I suppose it doesn't really matter. If our offers are gone in, there does seem to be this €5 million difference in valuation. And that journalist goes on to say, or Varsky Sports I should say, goes on to say that they've no interest in add-ons and any of that stuff. But look, if we're talking just €5 million here, I can see Michael Edwards getting something sorted out if this is all true and if they are at the negotiating table over Thiago. Interestingly, Bayern did give Thiago a little bit of extra time off. They've said it's to recuperate and stuff, obviously after international duty and winning the Champions League, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's more to just make less of an awkward situation for Thiago here and time for his guys to sort out his future, wherever that future might be. No way Neko starts. Well, mate, what else have we got at right back? You can say no way he starts, but Trent has only started training in the last day or so, so is he going to rush him back? I mean, we have a whole season ahead. You don't want Trent to come back too soon, pick up another knock and be straight back out. So I don't know what other options there are unless we drop Fabinho back to right back, or maybe we can play Milner at right back, which I don't like the idea of, if I'm being honest. Liverpool 5, Leeds 0, said never walk alone. I mean, I'd be very happy if that was the case, but I can't see us winning by that much. Look, ladies and gentlemen, as well, a little bit of a heads up about our Flick chat group. That chat group is really starting to build now. If you haven't joined it, it is completely free to join. The fun of the group is that we put up the likes of polls and stuff like who do you think will sign for Liverpool. You get to do our league prediction table, so before every game there'll be 5 questions put up there, and each one you get right after the match is finished, you get a point and you go on our leaderboard as well, and loads of other stuff as well. But most importantly for me, you get to interact with Reds from around the world in a nice, clean, safe environment as well. If you haven't joined the Flick chat group, there's a link in the description. It's completely free to do, and we hope that you can join it. If you want to just download it yourself, you can go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. But I love the app, and anyone that's tried it sings its praises as well. And it's great for us because it saves us having to go out there, spend a lot of money that we haven't got to build an app. All the functionality that I would have wanted is available in Flick Chat. So hope to see you guys over there. Trent played 80 minutes for England. Yes, there is that as well, to be fair. But I just don't know. I just don't know if I'll rush him back. I mean, do I want Trent to start? Absolutely, of course I do. I hope Trent starts, but I don't know. I hope he does. I mean, I'd love to be on here saying Trent, but from what I've been reading over the past few days, might be alright to be a bit cautious with him. I don't know. Have I spoken about Thiago yet? Yes, mate. I've spoken lots and lots and lots about Thiago on this stream. Any reports of a bid are completely wide of the mark, said Phil Lindsay. There you go. I mean, Phil thinks differently to... I don't know. I think we're all split right down the middle on this one. This has been a very strange stream, by the way. If you're tuning in with us for the first time, we're usually a bit more together than we are here tonight. It's a little bit sketchy, a little bit stop-start, because there's stuff coming in every 2 minutes, little bits of different stories here or there. Any reports of a bid, we've done that one. Trent played for England, absolutely understand that, and maybe Klopp will give him a run out. This is just from reading articles, from reading a few things. This is what I think Klopp might go with. I'm happy for Trent to start at right back, of course I am. If I'm proven wrong on this one, it'll be a happy wrong, put it that way. Liverpool FC 123 signed a 4-year contract for Thiago. That's always been what I'd read, so that wouldn't be any shock. Right, let's move on to the winger that I spoke about, and I see somebody in the chat mentioning this dude's name as well. Right, where's my links on this one? Right, the winger's name that I'm speaking about is a young man called Jeremy Doku, or Doku, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. He's a name that's been mentioned for Liverpool for a while, but links have started to pop up that Anderlecht's young winger, Jeremy Doku, is again being linked with a move to Liverpool. Interestingly though, the reports suggest that if we do buy him, we'll immediately loan him back to Anderlecht. He's only 18 years of age, so it looks like it'd be one of these, buy the player, loan him straight back for the year. We did that with Divock Origi, and it didn't really work out too well in his time at Wolfsburg, if my memory serves me correct. I think he had a bit of a stinker of a season, to be fair. Naby Keita, similar thing as well. We knew we had a deal in place for him. What I always worry about in these type of deals, and if Liverpool do go out and sign this kid, being one for the future, of course, again, I just worry if somebody goes out on loan like that and they know that their big move to Liverpool is there at the end of the season, are they going to really go out there and put in 100% for that season? Will they go into them 50-50 tackles knowing that the big move is just around the corner? I don't know. They never seem to work out for me. But look, who am I to second guess Jurgen Klopp, Michael Edwards and the recruitment team? But yeah, here's a name to keep an eye on anyway. Jeremy Doku, or Jeremy Doku, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Anderlecht winger, 18 years of age. Keep an eye on it. It's one that started to make the news in the last day or so. Can we even buy Doku? Yes. But again, the talk is that we will loan him straight back. 1,000 people in the chat right now. Welcome to all of you. Lovely to have you in. Please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. As you can see, we're close and close and closer to 45k, on the road to 50k. We need your help to do it, folks. So hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the stream. Keep your comments coming. I have a few more minutes left I think I can go through. So anything you want to talk about, whack it into the chat and I'll do my best to answer it. Are we actually considering selling Brewster? Apparently so, Shay, which really frustrates and shocks me, mate, because I can't see how it's gotten from a point where Jurgen Klopp fought so hard to get Brewster to sign a deal at the club, a professional contract at the club, fighting off a host of clubs around Europe who wanted to take the kid, telling him when we signed him and showing him a pathway through to the first team for him, only for it to then go on and sell him. Even with a buyback clause, it just doesn't sit well with me. And it's not a type of situation that usually ends up in the player coming back, to be fair. So I hope that we don't sell him, because I genuinely have every faith in Raheem Brewster that he will come through and be a top talent. 11 goals in 21 or 22 appearances for Swansea in his loan spell that he had there the second half of the season. There's talk that he might go back there on loan. That had been mentioned earlier on as well. I just don't want us to sell him. Loan him out by all means. If Klopp doesn't think he's ready yet, loan him out. But I hope this isn't an exercise just to maybe free up some cash flow or something like that, because it's not a great look for the Premier League champions. It's not a great look for a club as big as Liverpool to be going out there and doing that. So yeah, it would. We need a striker. On this situation, and I asked this last night as well, is it a striker that we need, or do we need a forward, a pacey wide forward? Because that's kind of where my head would be. I would be more looking for a Sarr, somebody of that kind of calibre, a pacey wide forward, dare I say a Jadon Sancho. I probably daren't say a Jadon Sancho, because, you know, Mark and the guys at the United stand seem to be absolutely convinced that Jadon Sancho is going to end up at United. But Yanag, if you're tough and a few others were hinting that if he doesn't make that move this summer, Liverpool will certainly be in for him next summer. So again, I'm keeping an eye on that transfer to trying to see what happens as well. We need to sell Origi, said Shay Trainer. Do you know what, Shay? I kind of agree with you, as much as it hurts me to say it, mate, because I love Divock for what he's done for the club. I love the fact that he signed a contract with Liverpool when he could have left for free, could have left on a free deal, but now he committed himself to the club. But I think if it's cards on the table time, if we're being quite frank about this, if it's a sell to buy somewhere, I probably would be looking to Divock if we were to try and bring in another forward, if I'm being honest. I'd actually rather sell Divock Origi than Raheem Brewster. There, I said it. That's how strongly I believe in Raheem Brewster. Craig, haven't spoken for a while, tried to pop up a few times, but I'm going to be in the chat more often, said LFC fan 96. Lovely to have you in. John Conway, thank you for the super chat, my friend. He's gone for a 3-0 win for the Reds against Leeds on Saturday. I mean, I take that very happily, John. It'd be nice to start the season with a clean sheet and a 3-goal win. That would do rather nicely. What have we got? CM Butterbell said, if Klopp feels we need to sell Brewster, we sell him. He's not on our first, so that's the way it goes. Well, you are factually correct. If Klopp feels we need to sell Brewster, we'll sell him. There isn't really an argument to be had there. Klopp will make the final decision on this, but it would be one that would really shock me, because he hasn't had an opportunity yet. And the little opportunity that he has had on loan at Swansea, he's done really well in. Scored 11 goals, as I said. Scored a couple of goals in pre-season as well. Knows where the goal is. It would shock me. It really would shock me, mate. I'd rather sell Shaqiri than Origi. Again, I would agree with you. Shaqiri, you guys know, I think he's a decent footballer. I think that he can make an impact, but again, he seems to pick up a lot of muscle injuries and strains that have kind of given a bit of a stop-start career at Liverpool. So I kind of do agree that I would probably shift Shaqiri ahead. But if we're just looking, to free up a striking position, I'd move Origi on from the list of forwards that we have at the club. But players who are certainly available to transfer, Marco Grujic, Harry Wilson, Shaqiri, possibly Origi, they're all available if the money's right. We know that. Craig, what's your predictions for the Nations League winners? I don't mean this to sound rude. I don't really care too much about international football. You've gone with Portugal, and look, they are very strong. Ronaldo obviously got that milestone as well, I think, of 100 goals. First European international to score 100 goals, I think, for his country. So congratulations to him on that one. I want to give a shout out to Connor as well, and kind of congratulate ourselves a little bit. The Anfield Agenda Instagram account has just hit 20k as well. So, well, we've actually gone past 20k. I think we're a little bit over, but we did that last night. So thank you guys so much for your support on there as well. Right, what else have we got? How many points do you think we'll pick up, Craig, in the first 6 games? Well, we've got a difficult second and third game anyway, mate, but if we want to be pushing for the title, I think we need to be hitting somewhere 15, 16 points minimum out of those first 18. I think it's going to be a tighter title race this season. I don't see anybody getting in the mid-90s with regards to points. I think if you win the Premier League this season, you might be winning it with the high 80s, the low 90s. That's what I'm predicting. I think Manchester United and Chelsea will close the gap, but I still think it'll be Manchester City and Liverpool that'll be setting the pace, and that'll be number 1 and 2. Hopefully Liverpool top of that pile, obviously. Right, what else have we got? I think the issue with Origi is that it disrupts our dynamic, said Ryan Davies. It's weird, isn't it? Because he scored some amazingly important goals for us, and when he comes on as a substitute, I really do like the look of Origi. He seems to be confident. He seems to, the step overs are there. His movement is good. He's not afraid of a shot, and he tries to make things happen. But when he starts the game, he doesn't seem to have that same impact, which I do find quite odd. But then again, some players are like that, aren't they? Even look at United's manager, Solskjaer, during his days. He was kind of known as the super sub, wasn't he? Come on like that and change a game and score a late winner. And clubs do need those players. Getting excited for Thiago now, said Shay. Again, I've not had any updates from Mr. Crosby on anything happening on that. But as soon as any real, genuine Thiago news breaks, I promise you, I'll be on here and I'll be talking about it. What have we got? How does Oxlade-Chamberlain fit into the lineup? It is difficult, isn't it? Because there is real competition there now. We know that if fit, Jordan Henderson and Fabinho are probably going to be playing. I think we'll all agree on that one. Then it gets interesting with that last midfield place, because you've got Naby Keita, you've got Wijnaldum, you've got Takumi if Klopp wants to drop him back and play him in an attacking midfield role, and you've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well as Curtis Jones. So there's a lot of people fighting for that one realistic spot. I'd be very surprised if there's many games this season where Klopp doesn't go with that double pivot and he puts 2 attacking players in there, or 2 attack-minded midfielders in there. I'd be quite surprised at that. Pleasantly surprised, but it is, it's a good point. And look, I haven't even addressed the idea or the potential of selling Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain this summer. Maybe it's because my own inbuilt bias that I love the guy. I really do like Chamberlain. I like the cut of his jib, as they say. I like the way he interacts with fans on social media. He's got a really good heart. He looks great around the dressing room. He just seems like a lovely fella. But that injury thing is something that does unfortunately follow him around and hang over him with Liverpool fans, and I still think there's more to come from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and I've no doubt that Jurgen Klopp will have a plan to get the most out of him when he's fit and ready to go. Has Gini signed a new contract? No, not yet, but Sky Sports have reported, and they're the only ones that I've seen to report this, that Gini Wijnaldum have held positive talks with Liverpool over a contract extension. I've not seen or heard anything to back that up from anywhere else, so I would pile that in the let's hang on, wait and see pile for me, personally. Origi is better. Origi is a better one of two up front in a 4-4-2 rather than trying to adapt to a regular system. What do you think? I don't think we're going to be changing an entire system though just to get the best out of Divock. Even though he may work better as a two up front, as you said, it will mean a whole change of system for us to accommodate a player who may or may not be good enough. So I can't see it happening at Liverpool. I can't see it happening on a regular basis, to be honest with you. What have we got? Oxlade-Chamberlain has a top personality, said Ryan Davies. He absolutely does. We'll be playing 2 games a week. We can rotate the midfield. Absolutely spot on. And that's why when we look at the centre-back situation, it makes you a little bit nervous thinking about going into the season with just 3 senior first-choice centre-backs. Now, I was one of the people that spoke about this idea of having Firmino playing as an auxiliary centre-back if needs be, but it's not ideal. And I was open to the idea of it for financial reasons, but in an ideal world, we need to go out there and get a 4th centre-back because, let's be honest, our 2nd and 3rd centre-backs have a little history of picking up some injuries. So, ideally, yeah, we would need to go out there and get another centre-back. But bar the Mondi links from a while back and the stuff around Diego Carlos, I've yet to see any real links to Liverpool and a centre-back. What have we got? Gini troubles me as a starter nearly every game. Does he deserve his place? 0 assists in 2 seasons suggests I might be right. No, I would say that he does. No to you. I mean, yes, he does deserve his place. I mean, I've said this to you before. From 16-17 onwards, only Bobby Firmino has played more minutes in the Premier League than Gini Wijnaldum. And do you just measure people's contributions in goals and assists? I would say no. Look at Jordan Henderson. You could probably pull up similar stats to him, and that he doesn't exactly set the world alight when it comes to scoring goals and stuff, but you know what you get from Jordan Henderson. With Gini Wijnaldum and Jordan Henderson in midfield, I don't like to use the phrase workhorse because I think it's very disrespectful for what they do, but they are absolute machines in that midfield that allow Liverpool to attack from different areas, whether it be the fullbacks going down the flanks or whether it be Virgil van Dijk pinging a nice little 50-yard diag over the top for Mohamed Salah or Sadio Mane to get on the end of. Our midfield is the heart of what we do, and they are very, very, very good at it. So I think it's a little bit disingenuous just to measure contributions and goals and assists. I think there's more to it. I think sometimes you just have to see with your own eyes what a player brings to a team, and Jurgen Klopp, Gini Wijnaldum's a trusted lieutenant of his who he turns to time and time again for the big games. Right, what have we got? Gini's staying, let's move on. Thiago's not coming, said Nicky. If that's the case, Nicky, that's the case. We'll have to wait and see. I just don't hope we get to a scenario where Gini doesn't sign a new deal and Thiago doesn't come in, and then we know we're losing Gini at the end of the season. I've no doubt that Gini would go in and still put in a great shift, by the way, and give 100% for the club because he's a thorough professional, but it will just leave again a bit of a bitter taste in the mouth at the end of this window. Right, 1 or 2 more comments before we finish up. Sam said, I wish we bought Upamecano because in the long term he'd replace Virgil, but I just don't see it happening. Be a great show, and I mentioned it last night as well. There's a load of Premier League clubs who've been looking at Upamecano, and I'm not aware of anybody making a bid, but Leipzig do have a very good defender on their hands there, and yeah, that is the type of defender I think as well we should be looking at if we were to bring in a centre back. None of this Koulibaly nonsense which some fans are dreaming about. You can put that into Kylian Mbappe, not going to happen kind of stuff. Should we develop our players instead of buying new players since we don't have much transfer money, said English Football HD. That's kind of, that seems to be the plan, mate. I mean, how many times over the course of the last 2 years have we heard stories of the club have announced a young player who's come in? We got that young Polish striker recently. We're talking about the 17-year-old keeper from Fluminense. We've brought in some young players as well. Harvey Elliott obviously signed last year. At the time he was 16 years of age from Fulham. Yes. So there is something to what you're saying, and we are developing those young players. For me, what makes me a bit nervous is I think there's a bit of a gap. So between Klopp's this team evolving into his second team, and by second team I mean his next 11 after these guys move on or get a little bit too old. I'm wondering, is there still a bit of a gap? Do we have anybody that can bridge the gap? Because I think a lot of these guys are still a year or 2 away from really being ready, and bar loaning them out, we're still leaving ourselves a little bit short. So for me, in this window right now, I'd like us to add a centre back. I'd like us to add a wide forward personally rather than a striker. And if the Gini Wijnaldum Thiago situation evolves, then so be it. That's where I am in the window anyway. Raymond said, do not make the same mistake like City did last season. Liverpool and the board give the manager money to spend, can't be one season champions. Well, look, it is very difficult to defend the Premier League title regardless, mate, but you're right. Guardiola did make a mistake last season in not going out and getting a centre-back, and I think he'll be the first to admit that having to play Fernandinho in there wasn't ideal, and probably showed the City were vulnerable at the back, and may have led to obviously their defence of the Premier League title going away and the Reds going and winning it. But they also lost obviously their leader in Vincent Kompany there as well, who was a big presence to lose around the dressing room. They've lost Leroy Sané. They've of course lost David Silva as well, who's over at Real Sociedad now. So we're talking about our club and players that we might be moving on, or gaps that we have. But even free spending Manchester City, they're still looking to plug some gaps as well. So it's not all bad news. I mean, I know people are looking at the likes of Chelsea's situation, the money that Roman Abramovich has given Frank Lampard to spend, and it is a lot of money. But even at that, I still think they're going to take time to gel. United, their whole season and window seems to depend on whether they can actually get the Jadon Sancho deal over the line or not. If they don't get Jadon Sancho, I've got to be honest, I'm not too worried about Manchester United. Donny van de Beek is a good piece of business, but again, he'll take time to settle into the league. And how happy will Pogba stay throughout the season? Will they be able to keep their players fit? I mean, a lot seems to depend on what happens with Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United. So if he picks up an injury or two, will that confidence just go throughout the team, and will they start to fall apart a little bit? Maybe a lot of this is just wishful thinking more than anything else, but that's my thoughts on it anyway, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have a late night agenda again tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that one. We will be live as well from the usual time of 8:30. We were a few minutes later tonight because I had to do a recording beforehand, so keep an eye out for that recording. It's going to be dropping tomorrow as well. I don't think there's anything else really to go through tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I will be streaming with you tomorrow, even on my birthday. That is the dedication I have to you crazy sons of bitches. It is my birthday tomorrow, but I'm still going to be on here at 8:30 giving you guys a late night agenda. It's not a big birthday. It's not a milestone. It's not a 40th or 50th. Definitely not a 50th. So yeah, we'll be on here tomorrow to catch up with you all and talk about the latest news. And if anything breaks or happens with Thiago in the meantime, I promise you I'll be straight back on to talk about it. But look, ladies and gentlemen, as always, I appreciate your time. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's stream. It was a bit of fun, if I'm being honest with you. It went kind of haywire in the middle for a little bit, but that's part of the joy of doing stuff live. I appreciate you giving up your time. I hope that your families are all well and safe. Love each and every one of you guys. Please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Drop a like on the stream, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Up the Reds.